Hello and welcome to the Coliseum pregame show on the Coliseum Sports Network. It's the second game of this Wednesday doubleheader as the Miami Marlins head up to Chicago to take on the White Sox. Tom Koehler gets the start for the Fish. Henderson Alvarez was announced as the starter after the Marlins lost to Milwaukee, but Alvarez was placed on the disabled list back on August 1st due to shoulder inflammation, so it's up to Koehler to keep the tournament hopes alive. Here's a look at the Marlins lineup. Leading off will be the left fielder, Christian Yelich. Batting second will be the second baseman, Jordany Valdespin. Batting third will be the right fielder, Giancarlo Stanton. Batting fourth will be the third baseman, Casey McGee. Batting fifth will be the first baseman, Garrett Jones. Batting sixth will be the center fielder, Marcell Ozuna. Batting seventh will be the catcher, Jared Saltalamacchia. Batting eighth will be the designated hitter, Reed Johnson. And rounding out the lineup will be shortstop, Adeiny Hechavarria. Jose Quintana gets the start for the White Sox after the White Sox fell to the Nationals 5-2 in D.C. Now they get this home date, and here is their starting lineup. Leading off will be the center fielder, Adam Eaton. Batting second will be the second baseman, Gordon Beckham. Batting third will be the third baseman, Connor Gillespie. Batting fourth will be the first baseman, Jose Abreu. Batting fifth will be the designated hitter, Adam Dunn. Batting sixth will be the left fielder, Dayan Viciedo. Batting seventh will be the shortstop, Alexei Ramirez. Batting eighth will be the right fielder, Alejandro De Aza. And batting ninth will be the catcher, Tyler Flowers. The winner will go on to face the loser of tomorrow's Cubs-Blue Jays matchup, while the loser is eliminated. We have partly cloudy skies on this summer evening in the Windy City, so stay tuned. First pitch is coming up shortly on the Coliseum Sports Network. Hello and welcome to the South Side here for region. It'll be the Miami Marlins taking on the Chicago White Sox. Glad that you could join us this evening here in Chicago. The final losers bracket game in the Eastern region. We'll have Miami against Chicago, and here's a look at Miami's batting order to start things off. Yelich, Valdespin, and Stanton due up in this inning, and they'll be taking on the lefty Jose Quintana. For a pitching staff that has otherwise struggled, Quintana has been pretty good numbers-wise. 6-7, the win-loss record, but a 3.04 ERA. He's also second on the team in strikeout. And here's a look at the team that will be fielded behind him. He'll be throwing his pitches to Tyler Flowers, who has been on a hot streak as of late. We have evening baseball from Chicago on what has been a beautiful Wednesday across the country. First pitch from Quintana, a curveball in there for a ball, and that's how we'll get started here in Chicago. Miami lost to the Brewers 90 minutes north of here in Milwaukee. In walk-off fashion, a shot to left by Mark Reynolds sends the Marlins into the losers bracket and a loss away from elimination. Marlins hoping to get the win on the road that eluded them up in Milwaukee. Yelich fouls off the pitch. Swing and a miss on the curveball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yelich batting .271 on the season with 6 triples. Definitely tops in the league as that one is fouled off. Here's the 2-2 again. This one hit up the middle, collected by Ramirez, and the play made at first for out number 1. Alexei Ramirez showing off some of that range that got him into the All-Star game this year. And he's able to get the out and keep Yelich from getting on base. So next up here, the second baseman, Jordany Valdespin. Valdespin signed with the Marlins organization over the winter, and he's been toiling down in AAA New Orleans for a fair amount of the season. Finally got the call-up, and in 16 games, he's batting .245. Curveball in the dirt, 1 ball, 1 strike. He's currently platooning with Donovan Solano in the second base position. Valdespin tabbed to start for the second game of the tournament after starting in the first. 2 balls and 1 strike on the cutter. Valdespin able to foul that one off. He went 1 for 3 in that game against Milwaukee. 2 RBI double in his final at bat, and a strikeout in the second at bat. He was subbed out after the 7th inning. Donovan Solano came in and finished the rest of that game. Full count to Valdespin. Fouls it off. Quintana looking for out number 2. Valdespin pops this one down the first base line, and it veers well foul. The 3-2 again is high and inside. And the second batter of the game, Jordany Valdespin, walks. So 1 out and a man on first for Giancarlo Stanton. For as much regime change as the Marlins have gone through over the past, say, 5 years, including a total change in stadium and brand identity, Giancarlo Stanton has become one of the few signs of normalcy. This season, he's hitting .293 with 26 home runs. You saw on the graphic he had 24 in all of 2013. So he stepped up here, puts bat to ball, but fouls it off. Gets a better bit of contact on this one, but still fouls it off. Just a bit late. And here comes the 1-2. This one in play, and that one rockets its way into left field. That'll advance Valdespin to second and move Stanton to first. And it's a 1-out single by Giancarlo Stanton. You can tell the power of Stanton, that even on a line single to left field, it just looked like a rocket heading out there into the outfield. But now Stanton's on base, and here is Casey McGee. First pitch by McGee, carrying into right field, going to the wall, and the out is made by Diaza. So the runners split up. Stanton remains at first, while Valdespin tags up and runs to third, but that's out number 2. So here's the first baseman, Gary Jones. Pops this one in the air to left field, chased down by Viciedo, and that's out number 3. So the Marlins were able to get the bats going a little bit, but only come up with 1 hit and no runs. So the White Sox will get their first chance at the plate right after this. Welcome back to Chicago. Here's a look at Robin Ventura, and here's a look at Robin Ventura's lineup. Adam Eaton, Gordon Beckham, and Connor Gillespie are all due up here in the first inning. And here's Tom Koehler filling in for Henderson Alvarez, who was tabbed with the start in this game. Alvarez on the 15-day DL due to shoulder inflammation, so Koehler, the number 3 starter, is just the next man up. And here's a look at the defensive lineup that will have Koehler's back, presented by Majestic. And we'll start things off with center fielder Adam Eaton. The White Sox fall into the losers bracket. The Cubs end up in the winners bracket by upsetting the Tigers. So I'm sure in terms of crosstown bragging rights, the White Sox do not want to end this. In LA, they're already talking as the Angels ended up in the winners bracket and the Dodgers were eliminated earlier today at home. Eaton puts this one in play, rounded up by Echeverria, and an easy 6-3 put out to lead off the game. And here's the second baseman, Gordon Beckham. Beckham had a few trade whispers, not so much trade talks, just a couple of rumors about places he could go. But as you can see, he's still right here on the south side. Here's the 0-1 from Koehler. This one put in play. Echeverria vacuums it up again, and another 6-3 put out. So Echeverria has been getting a workout here early on in the first inning. It has been keeping the White Sox off of base early on. And now it's up to Connor Gillespie to keep the inning alive. And he'll swing on the first pitch as that one fouls off down the third base side and was almost caught by McGee. He dived out, just couldn't stretch far enough. Slider outside for ball 1. Koehler 7-8 in the regular season, 3.70 ERA. Two 1 count, that pitch a bit too low. And the curveball drops in. 3 balls and 1 strike. So after 2 quick outs, seems that Koehler is having a little bit of trouble, just a little bit here against Gillespie. See if he can turn things around on the 3-1. Fouls that one back, and the count runs full. Jams him inside and ends the inning on a strikeout swinging. So Koehler ended up at a 3-1 count, but works his way back and ends the inning 3 up, 3 down. Five batters came up for the Marlins in the first inning. 2 got on base, 1 with a hit, but no runs scored. We'll see if the Marlins can get some off. Curveball outside, ball 1. Ozuna fouls this one back. Four-seamer high, 2 balls, 1 strike. Swing and a miss on the 2-1, and Ozuna's down to his last strike. Quintana hoping to get out number 1. Ozuna batting .263. 124 strikeouts to his name, but he has 16 home runs and 59 RBIs. Curveball outside, count full. So you're going to round up that number of strikeouts when you have to swing as much as Ozuna. Can't be afraid to do it. And that pitch outside, that's the second walk surrendered by Quintana. And that's how we'll lead off the second. And here's the catcher, Jared Saltalamacchia. Came to the Marlins from Boston over the winter. He's been a very steady presence behind the plate. A pitch out to make sure Ozuna didn't run on the first pitch. Ozuna only has 3 stolen bases this year. One on the changeup outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. And this one put in play, rounded up by Ramirez. 6-4-3 on the double play. So Saltalamacchia grounds into a double play, clears the bases for the designated hitter, Reed Johnson. First pitch in there for a strike. Four-seamer low for a ball. Reed Johnson played in Chicago once for 4 seasons, but it was on the north side with the Cubs. Pops this one up into the air, and Eaton is under it for out number 3. So 3 batters come up and 3 go down as Quintana is able to retire the side in the second. Still scoreless from the south side. Here's the first baseman, Jose Abreu. Signed over the winter and just has burst onto the scene for reasons like this. This is going into left field, and this is gone. Abreu already leading the American League with home runs. He's currently at 31 in the regular season. And he hits one here in the tournament. And that puts the White Sox on the board first. His first home run of the tournament after having a so-so day in the nation's capital, where he went 1 for 3 with the RBI single and he walked. But the first pitch he sees, he sends. And he most certainly puts the White Sox on the board right away. And next up here is Adam Dunn. Adam Dunn has just had a long, distinguished career of hitting baseballs very, very far away. He has 17 home runs this season. We've seen even bigger numbers out of the veteran over the years. All the time that he has spent with the Reds and the Diamondbacks and with the Nationals before coming to Chicago. Most he's ever had in a season as a White Sox was 41 in 2012. That was an all-star year. And the last time he played in the Midsummer Classic. Now he's fallen back into a bit more of a reserve role as he gets older. He swings on the slider, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Currently 34 years old. He turned into 35 in early November, so you got plenty of time to get him a gift. In the meantime, he will fly out to center for out number 1. Next up, Diane Viciedo. Looking to see if he can get some White Sox on base. Create insurance. White Sox lead. First pitch he takes is a strike. Viciedo betting 236 on the year. But he has 13 home runs and 40 RBIs. Looks like he won't be getting a hit here, as he is out 5-3 for out number 2. And here is Alexei Ramirez. Another one of the White Sox All-Stars to make it to Minneapolis. The other ones being Jose Abreu and Chris Sale. In the regular season, the White Sox have been hovering just under the 500 line. But in terms of some individual performances, at least on offense, there's been a bit to smile about. And then, of course, there's always Chris Sale, who's having a heck of a season with the 10-1 record. Ramirez hits this one weakly back to the mound, and the out 1-3 to end the inning. So after a solo shot by Jose Abreu, it's 3 up, 3 down. Still, it is 1-0 heading into the third. Welcome back to Chicago. We come down to the final batter of the Marlins lineup, shortstop Adeiny Hechavarria. Four-seamer outside for a ball. Quintana walked his first batter in the second, but the bases were cleared off on the double play, and then he got the last batter to fly out. He's going to hope he can face the minimum here again. But he's behind in the count to Hechavarria, 2-0. Echeverria has long been looked at as an everyday shortstop for the Marlins. Played 148 games in 2013. He's at 97 right now. And over the years, his offense has slowly improved. 227 in 2013, 279 through the season thus far in 2014. Facing a 3-1 count here. As the cutter finds its way in to the zone, 3 balls, 2 strikes. And Echeverria puts this one in play, gets just past the glove of Gillespie, and Echeverria is on with a single that tight ropes the third base line, and that's how we will lead off the third. So here is the left fielder, Christian Yelich. Echeverria on first. Yelich hoping to advance him. Lays down the bunt. And Flowers able to make the play at first, but the sacrifice is successful as Echeverria will advance to second. And here is Jordani Valdespin. He walked his first time up back in the first. He was the first Marlin to reach base in this game. Four-seamer outside for ball 2. And the 2-0 sails high for ball 3. Runner in scoring position, Echeverria at second. Here's the 3-0. A weak swing pops up to Abreu. And Echeverria is stuck at second with 2 outs. You can tell the check swing. Valdespin was going to pull back, but it drops into the infield and into the glove of Abreu. So here's Giancarlo Stanton. Going to see if he can make things right here. Stanton hit an RBI double and had 2 strikeouts in the game against Milwaukee. This one hit to Ramirez. Only needs 1 out, and he'll get the out at first. And that is the inning. So after giving up a hit, it's 3 up, 3 down, and the Sox lead 1-0 heading to the bottom of the third. Alejandro Diaz getting his first swings here in the bottom of the third. In the first swing, he fouls off. This one fouled off as well. Diaz hit a single in Washington and then was hit by a pitch and then also struck out looking in his final at bat. So 1 for 3 as this one pops up into left field. Yelich under it for out number 1. And here's Tyler Flowers to round out the lineup. This one slapped into right field. And the out is made on the flyout. First pitch to Adam Eaton on the outer half for strike 1. Curveball, Eaton doesn't bite. 1 ball, 1 strike. Eaton slaps this one, drops into left center field, rounded up by Yelich, and Eaton will only get 1 base off of it, but it's a 2-out single here in the bottom of the 3rd, keeps the inning alive for the White Sox. Gordon Beckham looking to advance Eaton and get a 2-out rally going against Tom Koehler. Eaton's going for it on the first pitch, slides home, and he's safe. So Beckham leaves the bat on his shoulder and doesn't even have to advance Eaton. He'll do it himself. Stolen base. Eaton stole a base against Washington as well, so it's the 2nd stolen base of the tournament. Beckham, meanwhile, takes the pitch outside. Four-seamer outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. This one hit weakly, rounded up by McGee, and the out at first is made, and that will end the inning with Eaton stranded. So still 1-0 heading into the top of the 4th. McGee, Jones, and Ozuna all due up. Casey McGee stepping up to the plate. He made the out in the previous inning, and now he's looking to get some offense going in the top of the 4th. Cutter in there for a strike. Casey McGee from Santa Cruz, California. Went to college at Fresno State. Played in Japan in 2013. Now that he's signed with the Marlins, he's been getting a little more time up at the plate as opposed to when he was in the league before. McGee fouls that one off. He's done very well. 298 in 2014. But he doesn't do well there as he strikes out. That's the first K of the game for Jose Quintana, and it comes on the first out of the fourth inning. So as Garrett Jones, the native South Sider, comes up to the plate, Robin Ventura shifts his defense. As the four-seamer comes in, you'll notice some of the defensive players shifted in your camera view here. The batter's eye cam that we've been utilizing here at the Coliseum baseball tournament. Eaton's shifted to the right. You have Beckham playing off in the grass on the back of the infield. Garrett Jones, born in Harvey in the south suburbs and went to high school in Tinley Park. So it's just a trip down the Dan Ryan, and then you switch onto I-57, and before you know it, you're out in his old stomping grounds. Facing a 2-1 count here against Quintana. He'll take a four-seamer inside for a strike. Kick and delivery on the 2-2, and Jones fouls it off. Robin Ventura, understanding that Garrett Jones has the tendency to pull when he swings and hits the ball. So he shifts his defensive players accordingly, and the shift looks like it will work. Beckham just had to get the throw into Abreu in time, and he does for out number 2. And so here is Marcell Ozuna, who walked his last time up and then was the victim on the front end of a double play. Four-seamer out or half for strike 1. Fielder's back to normal here against Ozuna, who knows where he's going to go when he puts the ball in play. 1 ball, 1 strike. This one popped up into the air, traveling into right field, but easily playable for De Aza as he gets out number 3. 3 up and 3 down. And the White Sox reeling here, heading into the bottom of the 4th, ahead 1-0. Connor Gillespie struck out his last time up. That was the first and only strikeout for Tom Koehler so far. We'll see if he can do better this time. This one popped up into the air, back into center field, easily caught by Ozuna for out number 1. So here's Jose Abreu. First pitch he saw, he's only faced 1 pitch. He hit a moonshot into left field. 401 feet to be exact. He'll actually take a pitch this time, a slider in there for strike 1. And Abreu hits this one into left field. Should be playable for Yelich. It is for out number 2. Still got some good distance on that, so the power's still in the bat here in the middle inning. But Yelich able to get under this one. He didn't even bother chasing the last one. And here's Adam Dunn, who himself flew out. Tom Koehler, in terms of pitch distribution, has actually done pretty well today, only giving up that blast by Abreu, but you have 31 in the regular season. What pitcher hasn't? He's thrown 9 balls. And here comes pitch number 37. Four-seamer in there for a strike. And Dunn gets this one up in the air. And that one is out to center. That's where he flew out back in the second, and that's where he flies out in the fourth to end the inning. So 3 up, 3 down. Both pitchers dealing, just like in the other games that we've seen. It's a matter of which pitcher is going to give first. Cutter in there for strike 1 to Jared Saltalamacchia. Quintana hoping to get through his 5th inning of work. He hasn't given up any runs yet. He's only given up 2 hits. Curveball drops inside, 2 balls, 1 strike. Check swing, appeal to first. Did not go. Much to the chagrin of White Sox fans. Here's the pitch. And this one popped up in the air down the left field line, veering foul, but under it is Viciedo for out number 1. And here is the designated hitter. Reed Johnson flew out in the 2nd inning. Looking to put one in play here. Cutter outside for strike 1. This one fouls off. Waste pitch on the 0-2. Can't jam Johnson. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. Curveball sails in for ball 2. Count tied up at 2, but Quintana's still holding the upper hand. Looking to get Johnson down on strikes. Johnson pops this one up into center field, eaten under it easily. And Johnson flies out to center for the 2nd time today. That's out number 2. And that'll bring up Adeiny Echeverria. 1-0 count here to Echeverria. Gets one up in the air, but veers foul. Two-one count here to Echeverria. And he'll take the fastball, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ooh, the cutter, very low at the ankles, runs the count full. Quintana has gotten the last 2 batters to fly out into the outfield. He's hoping he can get Echeverria to follow suit. And he won't because he struck him out. Backwards K for Danny Echeverria after getting the single back in the 3rd. That's another 3 up, 3 down inning for Quintana. These pitchers are dealing here in Chicago. Dan Viciedo got the first out of the last inning, and now he is ready to go here in the bottom of the 5th. We're halfway home as the White Sox hang on to a narrow 1-0 lead. Koehler gets a curveball inside, 1 ball, no strike. Fastball, inner half of the plate for strike 1. This one hit weakly by Viciedo, trying to outrun Saltalamacchia. He can't. That's the 2-3 putout. Will lead off the bottom of the 5th. And here's Alexei Ramirez. He grounded out his last time up. He hit a pitch weakly to the mound, and Koehler was able to easily handle it. So here he is again, hoping to get on base. Haven't seen a hit from the White Sox since the 3rd inning. And there's one. Ramirez hits that one, and it rolls into right center field. Good enough for extra bases from Alexei. And he will turn the corner. He's going for 3rd, and he'll be in there sliding. 1-out triple by Alexei Ramirez. So Alexei was able to get one against the wall. And he's fast enough to leg out extra bases. And that'll bring up Alejandro Diaza. A lot of green seats here at U.S. Cellular Field today. Over the past few years, it's been very interesting getting people out to the park. As this one is hit to 3rd. The out made at 1st still brings home Ramirez. And it is now 2-0 in favor of the White Sox. So here's Tyler Flowers up at the plate, and the White Sox are slowly scraping together runs as they can. managed to pick up a run off of Jose Abreu hitting a solo shot back in the second. And Diaz getting put out, but still giving Ramirez enough time to come home. So the White Sox have a little 2-0 lead with 2 out here and the base is empty in the bottom of the 5th. Here's the 1-1. Flowers jammed. He's just looking to 1 ball and 2 strikes. The 1-2 from Koehler. Swing and a miss. Second strikeout of the day for Tom Koehler. And it ends the inning, but not without giving up another run. So it's 2-0 in favor of the White Sox heading into the top of the 6th. We restart the Marlins lineup for the 3rd time today. Here's Christian Yelich. Yelich grounded out and then bunted Echeverria from first to second. But he's going to need to be the generator of some offense here as the Marlins have now fallen behind by 2 runs. Fouls it off, 2 balls, 1 strike. Cutter veers outside, but still a strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. And Quintana now has his 3rd strikeout of the game, as he sits down Christian Yelich to lead off the 6th inning. And here's Jordany Valdespin. Got on base via a walk back in the 1st and popped up to first on an excuse-me swing back in the 3rd. So he's finally back after a few innings, and he'll put one in play. Rounded up by Beckham, turns and gets the out at first. Quintana now up to 80 pitches. So he's doing pretty all right, but there are some White Sox in the bullpen just in case things go sideways. It's going to be very interesting if the bullpen is utilized to see if they can close things out against the Marlins, because they have been struggling all season. Here's Giancarlo Stanton. Native Californian from the Los Angeles area takes a ball. Fouls one off into the Marlins dugout. Another one fouled off. Stanton having no problem showing opposite contact. He's going to see if he can put the 1-2 in play. Here's the pitch. Ooh, bounces in the dirt and into the glove of Flowers. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Stanton sends the 2-2 down the 3rd baseline. Stanton just running up the pitch count here for Quintana. Fouls off another one. Stanton not going down without a fight. We've seen our fair share of duels in this tournament, usually ending in the pitcher's favor. Power hitter. As he'll take ball 3. Can't tie up Stanton. And we have ourselves a chess match. Here's the 3-2. Stanton puts this one in play, drops into left field, and he's on with another single. So Stanton comes out with a fantastic at-bat. He runs up Quintana's pitch count with 2 outs here in the 6th, and then is able to get on base. So a 9-pitch at-bat. And Quintana's now pushing 90. We'll see if Casey McGee can exploit Quintana as he's fastly approaching pitch 100. That's usually the magic number, but depending on how good you are of a pitcher, sometimes you can go further. And of course, if you're having a bad day, which Quintana's been having a very good one, if you're having a bad one, usually you're pulled well before 100. 1 ball and 1 strike to Casey McGee. Struck out his last time up. And now Quintana's holding on to a 1-1 count. McGee puts this one in play, rounded up, and only needed the force out at second to close out the inning. So 1 hit and nothing more. The Marlins still held scoreless at the hands of Jose Quintana and the White Sox. Adam Eaton leads off. Here in the bottom of the 6th inning. 3rd time we've restarted the White Sox lineup. And Koehler sends in a ball, 1-0 count. Slider in the zone though, 1 ball, 1 strike. Fastball in there, 1 ball, 2 strike. Koehler trying to hang on here. He's only given up 3 hits and 2 runs, which would be a pretty good day. But by comparison to Quintana, it is the lesser of the 2 days so far. Curveball drops in there, full count. Gordon Beckham due up next. Here's the 3-2. Eaton fouls it off. Here's the payoff pitch. Eaton fouls that one off as well. Eaton puts this one in play. It'll roll into right field, and he's on with a single to lead off the inning. Second single of the day for Adam Eaton. Stole second when he got on, so we'll see if history repeats itself. And that'll do it for Tom Koehler. A be responsible for Eaton on first if Eaton comes home. But otherwise, a pretty good day for Tom Koehler, and pretty good on Mike Redmond to get him out before things got too bad. Here's A.J. Ramos stepping in relief. And here's Gordon Beckham stepping up to the plate as scheduled. So Eaton on first, Beckham at the plate. First pitch. A pitch out to keep Eaton at first. Ramos 5-0 in 2014 with a 2.06 ERA. So he'll be called upon to shut down the White Sox the rest of the way and give the Marlins the opportunity to come back. Remember, both teams looking to avoid elimination. The winner will take on the loser of the Cubs-Blue Jays series. So he could very well have a crosstown series matchup. This one's in the dirt. Eaton's going to go for it at second. Slides in. He's out. You can see a crosstown rivalry between the White Sox if they win and the Cubs if they lose. You can see a matchup between the two teams that completed a big trade back in 2012, Miami and Toronto, that brought different players that are still on both teams in opposite directions. For instance, Danny Echeverria over at shortstop was once a Blue Jay. All the likes of Jose Reyes and Mark Burley were here in Miami. Mark Burley is tabbed for the start tomorrow against the Cubs. Beckham fouls that one back. Has the full count here against Ramos with empty bases and one out. Puts this one in play, but rounded up by Valdespin for out number 2. So here's Connor Gillespie stepping up to the plate, struck out his first time up and flew out his second time up. Ramos is looking to close out the inning. Fastball outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Four-seamer at the knees. If the White Sox win and the Cubs lose, that crosstown game, that hypothetical crosstown game, would be here on the south side. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Connor Gillespie. That one fouled off. Swing and a miss by Gillespie, and a strikeout is how we'll close out the 6th. So after Koehler gives up a hit, Ramos comes in and retires the side. It's still 2-0 heading into the top of the 7th. Welcome back to Chicago. Here's a look at the game summary. Just a couple of runs for the White Sox, but so far, heading into the final third of the game, that's been all they've needed. Garrett Jones, the native Southsider, will step up to the plate against Jose Quintana. We'll see how much longer Ventura keeps in Quintana as Jose does a cutter inside for ball one, his 93rd pitch. Change up in there for strike one. Curveball veers outside for ball two. Quintana in 23 starts has yet to field a complete game. So you probably shouldn't bet your house on him going the whole 9. This one popped up into center field. Eaton chasing it down at the warning track. Still going over the fence and gone. A leadoff home run by Garrett Jones. And the Marlins are finally on the board here in the 7th inning. And we'll take a look at this again on replay. We're wondering how much longer Quintana would last here. But Jones taking this one yard and in direct center field, no less. So here's Marcell Ozuna, who has a bit of power in his bat as well. Garrett Jones comes into this game with 12 home runs in the regular season. And Ozuna right behind him, 16. Can the rally start here against a tiring Quintana? Curveball drops in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's 98 pitches for Jose Quintana. Change up at the knees, 2 balls, 1 strike. Here's pitch number 100. Hits off of the knee of Marcell Ozuna, and he's been hit by and so that should be enough here from Quintana. He gives up a home run and hits a batter. And Ventura finally says enough is enough. Otherwise, it's been a very good performance out of Quintana for those first 6 innings. And it'll be up to Daniel Webb to close out this inning at least. And now here's where it gets tricky. The White Sox have only been able to generate 2 runs, which is how many they scored in that loss to Washington. And now the bullpen, which has notoriously been struggling all season, is going to be called upon to close out the game here. This one lines into left field, and both runners will advance 90 feet. Salto Lamacchia is on with a single. Ozuna moves to second. Here's Reed Johnson, the designated hitter. His last 2 times up, he flew out to center. There's a look at southpaw, trying to see if he can get those vibes Going again. See if he can get Johnson to fly out to center again. Still no outs. Johnson showing bunt, pulls back, and that hits Johnson's hand. Yep, right off of the bunt hand as Johnson was pulling back. So Saltalamacchia will advance to second, Ozuna to third, and this has just become a mess of an inning. Webb just goes ahead and throws a fastball in there to Echeverria. No balls and one strike. You saw the graphic. Echeverria hit 2 grand slams back in 2013. All runners going. Can't challenge all of them. But Flowers just waits for Ozuna to come in and applies the tag to him, so that's 1 out. And then Echeverria goes down on strikes. So there's 2 outs right there. And what are the odds of that? What was turning into a horrible situation is now a little bit more palatable. As Webb has suddenly come up upon 2 outs. At first we were thinking Echeverria was in position for a grand slam, and now there's 2 on and 2 out, both in scoring position for Christian Yelich, a player notoriously known for hitting triples. Can Webb get out of this jam? Check swing, still a strike in the zone. This one put up in the air, traveling to right field, carrying, and that is off the wall. And it is a bases clearing double. So Yelich is on, and the Marlins take the lead here in the top of the 7th. You figured it was a flimsy lead, 2-0, especially in a tournament such as this where there's been more offense than the norm. And alas, it shows itself off the 2 RBI double by Christian Yelich. So just like that, the White Sox lose the lead. It's now 3-2, and Ronald Belisario will come up to the plate, to come up to the mound, and he will take on Jordani Valdespin. Belisario signed over the winter after spending time with the Dodgers. He was going to be looked at as either a setup man or a closer, but he has greatly struggled this season. This one popped up in the air, veering foul, playable for Viciedo, and he's able to get the out. But the Marlins come up big in the top of the 7th inning, and while we'll stretch, the Marlins take the lead 3-2 heading into the bottom of the Here's Jose Abreu to lead off the bottom of the 7th, where he led off that inning, the bottom of the 2nd, with a solo home run. White Sox are down by 1, so another one of those would be good for them right now. In the meantime, though, here's A.J. Ramos still up at the mound. Going to see if he can go just a little bit further against a few more White Sox batters. Abreu hits this one weakly to Echeverria, and the out at first to start off the seventh. So here's Adam Dunn up at the plate. First pitch in there for a ball. Curveball outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Adam Dunn playing in his first tournament game, as he was the odd man out when Chicago went to the National League Park in D.C. Dunn tries to get this one up in the air, but off of the shift, it's a line out to McGee. So the shift works as imposed by Mike Redmond, and instead of Adeiny Echeverria being there, it's McGee. So here's Dayan Viciedo. He hasn't been able to get much going throughout this tournament. He hit an RBI sac fly back in Washington, but he reached on an error. But otherwise, he has a strikeout to his name, and he's 0 for 2 today here at home. Fly ball in the air. As much as I was talking about the White Sox, if the Marlins end up winning this game, they'll place host to the Cubs if the Cubs lose. And they'll be north of the border if Toronto loses. Swing and a miss there. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Dayan Viciedo. Viciedo puts this one in the air but fouls off. Slider gets loose there, runs the count full. Alexei Ramirez is on deck if Viciedo is able to keep the inning alive. Viciedo is able to keep this at bat alive, fouling off the first payoff pitch. Fouls off another one. Still 3-2 count, with the White Sox suddenly behind by 1 after a big top of the 7th. And we'll keep this inning going as Viciedo gets on with a walk. So here's Alexei Ramirez up at the plate. And Ramirez hits this one weakly, rounded up by the catcher, and that's the only out they'll need there. Ramirez unable to come through after tripling back in the 5th. So still 3-2 heading into the top of the 8th inning. Here's Giancarlo Stanton to lead off the 8th. Hit a single his last time up in the 6th. Belisario still in the game. Let's see if he'll be able to take care of business out of the White Sox bullpen. Huge cut at the four-seamer. 1 ball, 1 strike for Stanton. The 1-1 down the line, just foul. That one could have gone either way, but the ump calls that one foul. So a 1-2 count here to Giancarlo Stanton. Kick and delivery. That one in there, a strikeout. So Belisario showing no fear laying that strike in there. Because that looked like a good pitch to hit, especially for someone like Stanton. And that's out number 1. So here's Casey McGee. Fouls this one off. So already behind 0-1. The 0-1 flies by McGee. He's just left to look at it. No balls and 2 strikes. Splitter outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Another splitter in there, 2 balls, 2 strikes to McGee. And the slider in there. White Sox fans not happy with that one. That is ball 3. This one hit weakly but foul. So McGee able to stay alive. Three-two again. Gets McGee to reach. And now that's a forwards K for Belisario. So here's Garrett Jones, who got the scoring going in the 7th inning with this solo shot. This one took off into center field, and then from there, the Marlins would score 2 more runs. So Garrett Jones going to look to see if he can generate any more offense. Bases are empty, 2 outs, and the Marlins looking for some insurance. Sinker in there for ball 2. And this one fouls off. Four-seamer outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. This one down the line. This one put in play but rounded up easily by a shifted Ramirez. And that'll do it for the 8th inning. 3 up, 3 down. Now we'll see if the White Sox can take advantage on offense. Bottom of the 8th here from Chicago. And we'll start things off with a new pitcher. Michael Dunn up at the plate. Meanwhile, Alejandro De Aza will step up as well. And the first pitch he'll see from Dunn is a fastball for strike 1. Gotta set the tone if you're the relief pitcher. De Aza had a single and was hit by a pitch in Washington and also struck out looking. He's going to be looking to put something into play here in the latter innings to get his team back in it and avoid elimination. De Aza fouls that off. 1 ball and 2 strikes once again. And De Aza drops that one into right field. Rounded up by Stanton, and that's a leadoff single. So we have a pinch hitter in for the catcher, Tyler Flowers. And here is the White Sox legend. Pretty much the best White Sox of the 2000s. The 6-time AL All-Star, Paul Koehler. So he's making his appearance in the game as a pinch hitter for Tyler Flowers. Koehler has announced he's in his final season with the White Sox. So after this year, he is done. As he fouls one off, he will be tasked with getting the White Sox at least 1 run to tie it up. He is the go-ahead run, but he's behind 0-2. Slider veers high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Koehler, a Northeastern guy. Born in Providence, but went to high school in Scottsdale, Arizona. Check swing, and he definitely went on that one. So that's all we'll probably see out of Paul Koehler unless the White Sox can either have a big inning or go into extras. That's out number 1. Now here's Adam Eaton. Has been a very good get for the White Sox this season. Picked up in a trade that sent Addison Reed the other way to Arizona. Matt Davidson also came over from Arizona, but he hasn't been able to find his way up to the majors. Looks like Eaton has hit his way into a double play. And whatever offense the White Sox were looking to create has been erased on that double play. So it's still 3-2, Miami leading, heading into the top of the 9th. Paul Koehler's done a lot of things in his career, but he has not been a catcher. So, after Koehler pinch hits for the starting catcher, Tyler Flowers, In will come Adrian Nieto. Nieto at backup catcher. And Marcell Ozuna, who was hit by a pitch. Ozuna hit by a pitch at last time up. He'll look to get the inning going. He was the last batter the starter Jose Quintana had faced. Four-seamer has the speed, but not the direction. And that's ball 2, 2-1 count. Slider drops in there for strike 2. Two balls and 2 strikes here for Ozuna. And the slider bounces away. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Ventura hoping Ronald Belisario can carry him through the 9th. They struggle so far. He's able to get Ozuna to hit weakly. And the out is made at first. And so that will bring up Jarrett Saltalamacchia. 1 for 3 today. He hit a single his last time up and eventually came home off of the 2 RBI double by Kristen Yelich. There's the slider, 1 ball and no strikes. Huge swing and a miss there from Saltalamacchia. 2 balls and 1 strike. And the splitter in there for ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Sinker outside, and that runs the count full. There's a look at Reed Johnson. He's due up next, 1 out, base is empty, and Saltalamacchia looking to get on base. Pitch outside, and he'll get on. 1 out walk thrown by Ronald Belisario. Took him a while to retire Marcell Ozuna, and then he walks Jarrett Saltalamacchia. So we'll see what happens here with Reed Johnson, who's 0 for 2 today and then was hit by a pitch. There were 2 hit batsmen there in the 7th inning, and you barely want to even see 1. Sinker outside for ball 1. And Saltalamacchia going for second, slides in, he's out. When you think base stealers, you don't think Jarrett Saltalamacchia, and there's a reason for that. He's 0 for 1 on steal attempt. So he has yet to steal a base in the regular season, and when he tried, he didn't. And that happens right there. So it's 2 outs for Reed Johnson. Makes a bad inning look a little bit better. Belisario 1 strike away from closing out the Marlins in regulation. Here's the 1-2. This one hit, and it will dribble its way into for just a little bit longer as Reed Johnson is able to get a single into the outfield. Take a look at it again. That pitch just a bit outside. Johnson reaches forward, gets good contact, or enough contact to send it fair, and it rolls past the White Sox defense. And here comes Adeiny Hechavarria, he of a single and 2 strikeouts. He's an improved batter this season, so he's a lot more dangerous than most would expect, but he's going to hit to Ramirez, and they'll get the force play at second to wrap up the inning. So that'll do it for the Marlins in 9 innings. Can they hang on to get the win in the bottom of the 9th? We'll find out after this. The Marlins took the lead back in the 7th inning, so now it is closer time for Steve Cishek. Gordon Beckham will come up to the plate, hoping he can get Cishek to blow his save. Ooh, huge swing and a miss on the sinker. And 2 pitches in, he's already a strike away from retiring Beckham. Here's the 0-2. Waste pitch veers outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And this one hit weakly to third, and McGee able to get him with ease for out number 1. And here's Connor Gillespie up at the plate. First pitch from Cishek fouled off. And this one hit and play weakly, collected by the first baseman, thrown to Cishek covering first, and that's out number 2. And the White Sox, who were ahead for 6 entire innings, are now down to their final out and on the verge of being eliminated from the Coliseum baseball tournament. Jose Abreu's up at the plate. He hit a solo home run back in the 2nd. White Sox fans are going to hope that he can possibly do that again. Here's the first pitch from Cishek, and he'll take the slider below the knees. Still strike 1. Four-seamer outside. Cishek can't get Abreu to chase just yet. 2 balls and 1 strike. Two one on the sinker in there. 3 balls and 1 strike. Abreu waiting for just the right pitch. And the patience is paying off so far. If he can get on, Adam Dunn is due up next. And he doesn't have to do anything. He walks on 5 pitches. You look at it, it's a very clear ball. It just sails in there. Just a matter of waiting for it to get to Saltalamacchia's glove so that Abreu could take his base. So here is Adam Dunn up at the plate. As I said before, 17 home runs here in the regular season. A little more energy here out of the White Sox crowd than we've had for most of the game. And Dunn will take a ball. Fastball inside. That's called a ball as well. 2-0 count. Sinker low, ball 3. The last walk-off Adam Dunn has hit was May 23rd, as that one's in there for strike 1. Last walk-off home run was May 23rd, 2014. The White Sox were hosting the Yankees here in this very park. Walk-off home run to give the White Sox a 5-4 victory. Here's the 3-1. Fouled off. Count is full. Payoff pitch outside, and Dunn will walk. So won't be any late game heroics here from Adam Dunn. So he is able to keep the inning alive, and here's Diane Viciedo. Swings and misses on the slider. And a nasty one at that for strike 1. He hit a walk-off home run April 7, 2013, and he won't do it here as he'll hit weakly to Garrett Jones. And the Marlins get out of trouble and are able to get the win and advance and send the White Sox home. So it looked like trouble, but it seems that the plan was to get past the hard hitters Abreu and Dunn before getting Viciedo, who was 0 for 2, to pretty much ground out and end the game. So Cishek able to hang on and get the save, and the Marlins will move on to face the loser of the Cubs and the Blue Jays. Here's a look at the summary from Chicago, just in case you need a reminder. It's those 3 runs in the top of the completely heading into the final third of the game. And so we'll get a look here at the player of the game presented by Topps. And for the Marlins, it's Garrett Jones. 1 for 4 today, but he did hit the solo home run to get that scoring, that rally going in the 7th inning that proved to to help the Marlins stay alive in the Coliseum baseball tournament. So that will do it for this presentation of the Coliseum Baseball Tournament on the Coliseum Sports Network, presented by SimsColiseum.com. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the Coliseum Sports Network on YouTube, and follow Sims Coliseum on Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr. Be sure to join us tomorrow, where we'll have another, followed by the Astros and the Giants. So it should be a fun one tomorrow as well. But until next time, the Marlins win 3-2 and advance to the third round. I'm Raymond Sims. Thank you for watching.